If it feels like every time you try to talk, it turns into an argument, even when you're trying to stay calm, there's a reason for that. And it's not because you're bad at communication. Most couples say the same thing. We weren't trying to argue. We just wanted to talk. Yet somehow, 5 minutes later, one person shuts down and the other is raising their voice. Both of you are walking away feeling worse than before. If that's happening in your relationship, hear me clearly. This is not a personal failure, and it's not due to a lack of effort. In fact, couples who fight like this are usually the ones that care the most. They're trying, they're showing up, but they're missing one critical piece. And without it, conversations don't create relief, they create more tension. So here's what's actually happening. When a conversation starts without clarity, without knowing whether you're trying to understand, solve, or simply connect, your nervous system just takes over. So instead of listening, your body goes into protection mode. One of you pushes harder and the other pulls away, and suddenly the conversation feels urgent, loaded, and unsafe. That's why it feels like you fight every time you talk. This is why just communicate better advice doesn't work. Because the problem isn't how much you're talking. It's about what happens between the two of you once the conversation starts. Most couples don't realize they're stuck in a pattern, and patterns are almost impossible to see when you're inside of them. This is what I see over and over again. Couples aren't broken. They're overwhelmed by a cycle that they don't have words for yet. And once couples can actually see the pattern, the tension drops, the blame softens, and the conversations stop feeling like emotional landmines. If you want clarity instead of guessing, there's a way to actually see what's happening in your relationship, not just talk about it. I always use a research-based assessment to show couples their patterns, stress points, and connection gaps clearly and objectively. If you want answers instead of assumptions, the link is below. Start there. And in my next video, I'll explain why this pattern keeps repeating, even when you promise yourselves this will be different. Because once you understand what's repeating underneath, everything changes.